Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Dollar Industries Limited Q2 and H1 FY22 earnings conference call hosted by PhillipCapital PCG Desk. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone telephone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Dhiral Shah of PhillipCapital India Private Limited. Thank you, and over to you, Mr. Shah.
Good afternoon, all. On behalf of PhillipCapital PCG Desk, we are glad and thankful to the management of Dollar Industries Limited for giving us the opportunity to host this call. Today, from the management side, we have Mr. Vinod Kumar Gupta, Managing Director, Mr. Ankit Gupta, President Marketing, Mr. Gaurav Gupta, Vice President Strategy, and Mr. Ajay Kumar Patodia, Chief Financial Officer of the company. First of all, I would like to congratulate Dollar Management for delivering an excellent performance in this challenging time. And now, without further ado, I would like to hand over the call to Mr. Vinod Kumar Gupta for its opening remarks and followed by a Q&A session. Thank you, and over to you, Vinod, sir.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the entire management team at Dollar, I welcome everyone to the second quarter and half-yearly FY22 post-results conference call. After a tough Q1 which impacted a lot of states and citizens due to the COVID second wave, Q2 has come with great relief led by state-wide reopenings. Unlike last year, this year manufacturing companies were allowed to keep running their operations. However, manpower was not easily available through Q1, which impacted our overall sales as well as progress of some of our projects. Coming to the positives, this quarter, as we have seen by numbers by now, has turned out to be the best of a quarter for us in terms of revenue. Our company declared its best ever quarterly revenue of 391 crores in this quarter, and EBITDA net profit of 62 crores and 41.2 crores respectively. As Q2 has displayed a bumper performance on all fronts, our thirst for growth at all levels is clearly visible in this quarter, and we are looking to further improve on this in the coming 2 quarters to meet our targeted growth rates. On the working capital front, our overall working days has reduced from 270 days in September 20 to 178 days in March 21. This has now further improved to 161 days in September 21. On a year-on-year basis, the improvement was seen on receivables, which were down from 153 days to 109 days, while inventory has reduced from 131 days to 116 days. Our return on equity improved from 15.64% to 21.60%, while on return on capital employed improved from 23% to 30% at the end of September 21. Debt equity ratio continues to stay in control at 0.26 times, while interest coverage has improved to 32.6 times. Our project Lakshya has also mapped more than 1.5 lakh outlets, while more than 40,000 outlets have been enrolled under this project. We have made significant progress in this quarter, having increased the number of distributors under this project by nearly 50% versus Q1 FY22. As now, we have now 491 distributors under Project Lakshya, and this has helped to take revenue contribution from Lakshya distributors to 6% of the first half revenues. Our sales teams are back working hard to grow the business as well as to maximize the efforts of Project Lakshya. I'm happy to share with you that we have just inaugurated our first EBO on 26th of October this year at Ayodhya in Uttar Pradesh. This is the first of 8 to 10 EBOs planned by us in this financial year. The EBO shall work on a FOFO model, and our focus will be initially to set up these EBOs in Uttar Pradesh and Rajasthan and move into other states gradually. Another positive development during the quarter has been that we are now entered into channel financing arrangement with a large private sector bank, which will help reduce our receivables as we will look to bring in all our distributors under channel financing. We continue to march ahead, focusing on our three key pillars, namely brand architecture, restructuring the distribution, and investing in digitization. I shall now hand over the call to Mr. Ajay Patodia, our CFO, to discuss about the financial performance of the company during the quarter. Thank you.
Thank you, Vinod sir. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Q2 earnings call Industries Limited for financial year 22. Now, quickly updating on the financial performance. The company total revenue for first half up to September 21 stood at rupees 596.5 crore and rupees 391 crore in this quarter, as compared to 417.56 crore in last 6 months up to September 20, and Q2 of FY21 around 257.93 crore, a growth of 42.86% for half yearly basis and 52% for quarter basis. The EBITDA of the company for half year stood at rupees 98.25 crore and for the quarter it rupees 62.02 crore as compared to 64.5 crore for half year 21 and 35.67 crore for September 20. Growth of 53% for half year and 74% for quarter FY22. The profit before tax of the company for half year up to September stood at rupees 87.39 crore and for the quarter around rupees 56.34 crore as compared to rupees 51.97 crore and rupees 29.93 crore for half year and Q2 FY21. A growth of 68.15% for half year FY22 and 88% for Q2 FY22. The profit after tax of the company for half year stood at rupees 64.36 crore and for quarter FY22 rupees 41.25 crore as compared to rupees 38.80 crore for half year FY21 and rupees 22.36 crore for Q2 FY21. A growth of 67% for half year FY22 and 84% for Q2 FY22. Now moving on to brand wise contribution for half year FY22 and by the wise half year FY21. Big Boss stood at 42% versus 41% in last year. Champion 0.41% versus 0.39%. Dollar Shops remain at 1%. Force Govier 1%. Force NXT 3%, a growth of 1% from last year. Missy 8% from 6% last year. Pepe 0.15% from 0.06%. Regular brand 34% from 37%. Our total thermal sale is around 10% of the revenue in first 6 months as compared to 9% in the last year. I now open the forum for question and answer.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on your touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Thank you. The first question is from the line of Ankit Babel from Shubhkam. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, sir, and congrats for an excellent set of numbers. So my first question is on your working capital again. So you did mention that the channel financing has been started and you expect 100% of your distributors to come under this channel financing thing. But I need to know the timeline, sir. By when you expect full coverage of your channel financing amongst all your distributors, sir?
Yeah. Hi, Ankit. Ankit here.
Yeah.
So, with respect to our total number of distributors, which is currently around 1,000 plus distributors, And during the month of September end only, we got into the contract with the private sector bank regarding the channel financing. And we are very optimistic that within 2 to 3 years time, we'll be able to cover the entire population, like the entire number of distributors that we have. So we'll first start with the Lakshya distributors also, because when we appoint a Lakshya distributor or when we enroll a distributor under this particular project, we have a higher bargaining power with them. We keep our condition. So from now on, this will be our foremost condition with respect to channel financing with them. And apart from that, we'll be pitching to all our distributors in a phased manner. So the distributor who is more distressed will approach them first. We'll try to convince them first. See, it's not an easy task to bring a distributor on board, right? It's easy to say, but when we implement it, it's really very difficult to get them on board. So a lot of convincing would be required from our side as well, and that's why Mr. Patodia is making a team under him to drive this particular project. Like in 2 to 3 years time, we should be able to get maximum of our distributors on board.
So even if you get 80-90% on board, where do you see your receivables, after that?
It would be, if we bring 80% of our distributors on board, so your overall debtors would reduce by what? Maybe 60-70%?
No, in terms of days. So currently it is around 90 days. So you believe it will come down to say 25-30 days?
Definitely, it should come down to that particular level, because the distributors who will get enrolled in channel financing, we are getting the payment in day one. As soon as we bill to the distributor, we get the payment from the bank, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So and the remaining distributors who would be around 25% odd distributors who are left. So their receivable days, overall at a company level, if you see, the receivable days would come down to 20-25 days. It's easily possible once we get everyone on board.
Okay, and your current inventory days is around 116 days. Now, where do you see your inventory days once you achieve your this 2,000 crore sales target by FY25?
So overall, what we aspire is, if you see at an industry level also, or all the listed players in this particular industry, either 90-95 days is the optimum point that inventory will be there, because we deal in men's, we deal in women's, then there's a kids segment, and the N number. And also, if you see that the total number of SKUs that we carry is a huge number, and day on day we are increasing our product range also. Like in dollar, we are going ahead with the lingerie segment. We are increasing our number of styles that we have in our athleisure range. From next year onwards, we'll be focusing on our kids range as well. Apart from that, if we distinguish ourselves with the peer groups also, we have the entire backward integration which none of the other companies have. So we have our stocks over there as well. So like in the spinning mill, our stock would be, raw material stock would be what? The cotton. So we have to store a huge amount of cotton as well. So what we see that 95 to 100 days should be the point where we would aspire to come down to. Currently it's around 116 days. So over 2.5-3 years time period, we'll aspire to get down to this 95 to 100 days level.
Okay. So just to conclude this working capital part, so a 95 days in inventory and a 30 days in receivables, and you have a trade payable days of around 50 days. So a net working capital you are targeting at around 75 to 80 days. Is the calculation right, sir? Over a period of 2-3 years.
If we look at this last call that we had, the kind of guidance we gave was in FY 24-25, what we aspire is 120 days, right? So 120 days, we said when we were in talking terms with the channel financing partners. And currently, the numbers that we have gotten into is solely based upon how many distributors are on board with respect to channel financing. We are giving our 100%, 200% to bring all the distributors on board with us in respect of with respect to debtor days coming down, receivable days coming down, right? So it's all contingent upon how many distributors come on board with respect to the channel financing. But if 80-90% of the distributors come on board, then your calculation is obviously right. But I would still maintain the same, that by 24-25, we aspire to be at around 120 days level.
Okay. So my second question is that now definitely this channel financing will come at a cost, and earlier you had guided that at around 2,000 crore revenue will do somewhere around 18% margins. So after taking this cost also, you believe that you can do an 18% kind of an EBITDA margins when you achieve this 2,000 crore sales target?
So what we had said was the EBITDA levels would be around 17.5-18%. That's correct. But in channel financing, what would happen is obviously it will come with a cost. We have to incentivize our distributors also. But that we can over time gradually that we can build in our this thing only, the pricing model, because we still have a gap from our competitors also. Like before also I said that we have a price gap of around 2-3% from our peer groups. So we try to cover that also, plus build in the extra incentives that we have to give to the distributor. So yes, by 24-25, we are very much hopeful and will be able to achieve the guidance that we had already given.
Okay, that's helpful. And so my last question is that historically your Q3, Q4 has been better than your Q2. So you have already, at a run rate of around 400 crores now. So can we expect this run rate to continue in the coming quarters? And with that, would you like to revise your earlier guidance of just a 15% growth in this year?
So the guidance that we'll give would be around 15-16% overall growth. We won't be changing it. The reasons are basically there are 2 to 3 reasons. One is the volatile market in terms of the raw material, because the yarn availability is an issue in the market. The rising prices is an issue. So one is that. The second would be the government regulations, because from January onwards they are to revise the GST structure for our products, for the textile industry and the hosiery industry as well. So these are the 2 dynamic variables that have come into the picture, plus the rumors about the third wave and the COVID not been going. So we don't know how the market will react or how the situation would be by the end of third quarter or the fourth quarter starting. So overall, we won't be able to change our guidance. Maybe 1 or 2% here and there.
Okay, I'll come back in the queue, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Reminder to all the participants, to ask a question, you may please press star and 1 on your touchtone telephone. The next question is from the line of Bajrang Bafna from Sunidhi Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, congratulations. Terrific set of numbers by the company. So Ankit, again, I think everybody is going to try to understand more on your guidance part and how things look like going into Q3 and Q4. So since you guided, there are a couple of moving parts to the future growth trajectory in terms of phase 3, which is perhaps experts are guiding as of now that since most of the country is getting vaccinated, so even if it comes, the impact is going to be pretty limited. And second, on the GST part, which you highlighted that by January, I think the rates are going to be revised on the higher side, and which could have, some impact on the unorganized part, which could come into play. So even then, if you see in the first half, we have achieved 600 crore kind of top line, and our margin is again closer to 17% vis-a-vis 15% guidance. So you want to keep yourself safe, by saying that we'll be at our earlier guidance of 1,200 crore. But looking at the momentum and the circumstances, and since the product sizes have gone up, so end of the day the value criteria will be higher for the company. So if you could break it up in terms of the volume part also, will be really helpful. If assuming there is no third wave as such and no meaningful impact from that. So considering the normal circumstances, what could be the growth trajectory, and how are you seeing the impact per se from the GST side from your own conviction will be helpful.
Yeah. Hi, Bajrang. So overall, if we talk about the EBITDA levels, the profitability of the company, earlier we gave a guidance of around 14.5 to 15%, which we are hopeful that we will be able to do 15 to 16% this year, this particular fiscal, given the results that we had in the first half. Apart from that, in the revenue side, maybe from 14 to 15%, we can give a guidance of 15 to 17%, because we don't want to overcommit, since the market is very volatile and there are a lot of variables that are there in the market, right? So we really don't want to overcommit anything and underachieve. Instead, we'll still be undercommitting and overachieving.
Got it. Can you give some color on the festive demand, which is going right now in terms of your the Durga Puja, which has gone recently, and now the Diwali, which is again there are a number of photographs that we are seeing that the people are, whether they are in a buying mode or in a corona buying mode, nobody knows. But there is a humongous crowd on this street, and we have heard from a couple of distributors that they are on the textile side are completely running out of stock, the kind of demand that they are seeing, after a lull of, let's say, last almost 1.5 years. So are we seeing a similar sort of demand, for our products also when we'll talk about the general market and the festive season?
So the demand has been really very good, and that's why we were able to achieve this kind of a growth in quarter two. We had a volume growth of around 21% this particular quarter. So it's not just the value which has driven up the growth levels of 52% for this quarter. It's also the volume growth that we have got. So it is majorly the athleisure sale that we had. Apart from that, we saw a very good sale in terms of Missy leggings, and which was not there last year, which took a great hit last year. Apart from that, we were able to maintain sales for the socks range also, which took a hit due to the COVID pandemic. And also force necks. So if we talk about force necks, we saw a growth of around 40% during the quarter, and in 6 months we saw a growth of 43%. So this is the kind of growth that we saw during the quarter two, and the athleisure range for force necks, the athleisure range in Bigg Boss, we saw huge growth in that. The thermals, which was 9% last year, was at 10% this particular half yearly. So we are seeing a good traction in thermals also. It's just that there's a speculation going around, there's a contemplation that this year the winters would be harsher, and it would be the winters would be colder this particular fiscal. So we are hoping for a very good winters, and the thermal sales should shoot up in quarter three.
Got it. But any new category that you are looking at, because our the major brands like Big Boss and Dollar, which contributes close to, let's say, 80% of our overall turnover, which are, slow moving growth, but the higher growth we are seeing in Messi and Thermal and maybe this next brand or the new generation, the premium products. So how do you see, that portfolio moving, going into maybe next 2 to 3 years perspective? Can this be a sizable number closer to, let's say, 30% from current 20% contribution over next 2 to 3 years time frame?
Messi and Post Next taken together is about what 11 or
Thermal also.
Yeah, so the thermal contribution overall is around 9% to our sales. So that comes to around 20% overall currently. Yeah, in 3 years, 4 years time period, we can move up to 28-30% kind of a contribution from this particular brand. So we are very hopeful that Post Next would grow at around 35% year on year for next 2-3 years, and Messi would grow around 28-30%.
Got it. So I think best of luck, because most of our parameters, whether in terms of top line growth or in terms of margin trajectory, in terms of working capital, I think we are all moving in the right direction in terms of high ROE and ROCs in days to come. And I wish all the best, for your future growth perspective. Thank you, Ankit.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Moksha from Moksha and Associates. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, sir. First of all, I would like to congratulate you on a great set of numbers.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Okay, so I have just a small question. So I just saw the news that you opened your first EBO in Ayodhya, UP. So I wanted to ask, how are we planning it forward? Like, are we going all in on EBOs or are we going for a slow kind of growth?
So we'll be opening 8 to 10 stores this particular fiscal.
Okay.
And all the stores would be on FOFO model.
Okay.
So the company investment is the least when it comes to EBOs, and we'll watch those EBOs for like 3 to 4 months. We'll observe the workings because we are not into retail currently. We are trying to move towards that, like opening EBO and interacting with the consumer directly. So that is a new model for us. So we don't want to goof up in the very first time. So we'll observe their working for like 3 to 4 months, and if everything goes well, then over 3 years period, we'll be opening around 75 to 100 EBOs.
Okay. Perfect. Okay, that's it from my side. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Reminder to all the participants, to ask a question, you may please press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Vaishnavi Mandhaniya from Anand Rathi. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Just a quick question on the channel financing. We had done this earlier as well, right? Historically, we had tried to implement this across our distributor network, right? So what is the difference between what we were doing then and versus now?
Hi, Vaishnavi. This is Ajay Patodia. Previously, we had the channel financing scheme signed with SBI State Bank of India, but there is some problem with the in the system. There is a more time taken for sanctioning the loan, but this time we have made arrangement with the private sector bank, ICICI Bank, and the platform is fully digitized. There is a time gap of only 35 minutes. If a dealer applies for the facility, within 35 minutes he gets the sanction or rejected. If rejected, there is a revision granted that if there is any mistaken CIBIL or any type of ranking. But in this model, it is fully digitized and very simple to join the scheme. So we are very hopeful that this is very beneficial to our dealers.
Okay. And any updates on the Lakshya project Lakshya? I think we did say that we have 491 distributors under the project currently, right?
Sorry, can you just repeat the question?
Any further updates on Project Lakshya? I must have missed your beginning remarks, I think, but you said that there were 491 distributors under the project currently, right?
No, it's not 491. So by last quarter, like the first quarter of this fiscal, we had around 60 distributors who got enrolled with us, and during second quarter we added around 31 new distributors under this particular project. And by the end of this fiscal, it would be somewhere around 125 to 150 distributors under this project. In 3 years' time, we are aspiring to complete this particular project in 3.5 years' time. So the new states that we are opening for this particular project is Bihar, the entire Northeast, and Andhra Pradesh. So these are the few states that we have started working on, and apart from that, we were already present in Gujarat, Maharashtra, Rajasthan, Karnataka, Telangana.
Okay, and one last question. Can you please just like the gross margin decline that we had in this quarter, right? The reason for that?
So our advertisement expenditure was a bit high in this particular quarter. The overall the cost of material consumed was a bit high than quarter one due to higher production and the thermal production and everything. So these are the few reasons, and the difference is not much. So this particular quarter we did around 15.86% against 17% last quarter.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ankit Babel from Shubhkam. Please go ahead.
Sir, just a follow-up, this channel financing, will it have a recourse on Dollar Industries?
Yeah, Ankit, so yeah, there will be a recourse, but the thing is that our each and every payment is being secured through the Del Credit agents that we have. So there will be no bad debts coming onto our books, and we are totally secured in that particular respect.
But I mean, there would be a debt, notional debt in the balance sheet to the amount of channel financing done because of Ind AS, right? Is my understanding right?
No, I think only the liability part is in our balance sheet, not because in channel financing the bank sanctions the loan directly to the dealer, and we have the secured by our Del Credit agent. So in this case, I think
it is okay, secured by your agent.
Yeah.
Okay, so recourse is basically on the agent and not on you.
Not on us. True. Correct.
Okay. And sir, sorry, I missed that part which I asked earlier. This as we discussed that there will be some cost which would be there in this channel financing. So the guidance of 17.5% to 18% is after considering that cost?
Yeah. After considering all the costs, we have the target of around 17 to 18%.
Okay. And sir, you also mentioned that it is easier said than done, to include all the channel partners and under this channel financing. So what is the reason for a protest? I mean, why a dealer will protest for it?
So what happened is, Ankit, the distributors in our particular trade are mainly unorganized.
Yeah.
So they are more comfortable to work with the company directly instead of dealing with a bank. So once the bank comes into picture, they are very much afraid about the mortgage part or the bank taking over, the interest, the paperwork that comes along with it. So they're not used to doing all those stuffs right now, currently. And this is true for all the distributors in our industry, whether it be for dollars distributor or any other peer group distributors. So most of the distributors are unorganized. Now we are seeing that new distributors are coming into this field who are originally from maybe real estate or FMCG or any other trade. So the other trade distributors who are coming are much more organized than the original distributors who belong to this trade.
So it's just an operational part. There won't be any financial loss to them.
No. It's just that some paperwork from the bank side or the interest calculation that they have to pay to the bank. Currently, it's very easy. They pay to the company and there's no interest being charged for late payment, right? But for the bank, even one day would matter. So this is the only problem. I think this is the only reservation that the distributor has.
Okay, so far, whomsoever you are discussing with, how is the response? I mean,
okay, we have just signed it. We have so all the onboarding would start from the month of from this month itself, like from November month itself. So we'll be pitching to the distributor from this particular month because the platform was getting ready with the bank and they were onboarding us on their platform first. So the agreement part has just completed and all the back-end integration has been done. Now from this month onwards, we'll start onboarding the distributors.
So when the bank is doing a discounting, they consider the credit rating of the distributor or the agent to whom the recourse is there?
They first check the CIBIL of the distributor. If the CIBIL is correct,
so if the CIBIL is not good, then
the case is rejected, and even we don't want that if any dealer who is defaulted in payment to bank is
to be your distributor.
Yeah.
So it has nothing to do with the CIBIL of the agent.
No.
So the agent will just act as a guarantor.
Yeah.
Personal guarantor. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Akhil Parekh from Elara Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi. The first question is on Project Laksh. We say that 9%, almost 90 distributors are onboarded on the Project Laksh. That is around 9 to 10% of the total distributors, while the contribution of sales of these distributors is only 3%. So could you please help us explain the discrepancy? Is it that we have onboarded distributors who are not contributing significantly at this point of the time to our business?
So, hi Akhil, Ankit here. The total contribution in sales is 6%, and the number of distributors is around 91 distributors who have got onboarded. The number of distributors got onboarded in the month of September itself is around 10 or 12 distributors got onboarded in September. It takes generally around 3 months time for a distributor to get settled down and to get stabilized, because all the enrollment process or the people, the sales team going to the retail point, enrolling them, and then bringing them on the platform with respect to whether it be telecallers or the auto replenishment system model, the beat plans. So it takes around 3 months time for a distributor to get stabilized. So if I say that 91 distributors have been enrolled into this particular project, that means they have just started working. So there are few distributors who have just started working. So their data would be a bit on a lower side, if you see. And with 1,000 plus distributors, it's almost neck to neck. So 7.5% kind of a distributor versus 6% of our total sales. And by the way, this 6% of total sales is the total sales under this particular project is not the old sales which have been converted into Lakshya project sales. It's the sale coming from the new areas also, where we have made new distributors under this particular project where we were not present earlier.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's an incremental sales basically they get.
Yeah. That's obviously the incremental sale for the company.
Got it. Thanks for the clarification. Second question is on the cotton prices and the price hike, if at all, what we have taken during the quarter and for the course of the month.
So during the quarter, we didn't take much of a price hike. And going forward, there will come a situation where a price hike would be necessary because of the rise in prices. And so actually, we don't plan to increase it very recently, to be very honest. Let's see how the purchases go during the mid of the month, and there may be a requirement of taking a price hike in the month of December, but not currently.
But are the cotton prices stable right now, or they're still inching?
They are still unstable currently, and it's on a we can see a price hike in terms of yarn prices and the cotton prices as well.
And how much of inventory we are holding right now in terms of for the cotton inventory?
Cotton inventory, it's around 1.5 2 months cotton. I think we have on our books. I'll get back to you on this, Akhil. I'm not very much sure about the number, but it should be somewhere around that only.
Sure, got it. And just one last clarification. In terms of the brand-wise contribution, I missed how much was for Force brand.
Sorry?
The brand-wise contribution for Force for this quarter and versus last year.
So Force Next was 3% with respect to 2% earlier.
Okay, that's all from my side, and best wishes for coming forward.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sonal Minhas from Prescient Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, this is Sonal Minhas. I have two questions. First one was regarding the terms of your channel financing. Just wanted to broadly understand what margin do you leave on the table as a trade-off for the data days going down for you? That's the first one. If you could answer that, I'll go on to the next one after that.
Hi, Sonal. Currently, we have the credit period for our distributor is around 45 to 60 days.
Okay.
In channel financing, whenever distributor is joined with our scheme, we get the certain incentive in the bill also, and he has to pay within the and once the bill is generated, we get the payment from the bank side, and there is very minimum interest rate for our distributor, which is to pay to the bank. If he pay if he pay the bank within 5 to 10 days, he get the full incentive on his account. Otherwise, the interest rate is almost half of the total incentive.
Okay, got it. So, sir, just asking out of curiosity that these incentives could have been done on your own balance sheet in the past. I know you are new with the company, but just understanding, and you've done this earlier as well. Typically, like when you discipline dealers, distributor on working capital, there is a lot which starts behaving and there is a lot which doesn't want to accept this. So I'm just trying to understand where are we in terms of our practice of reducing our working capital, as to is this the last resort left for us? Because we've been doing Project Lakshya, we've been trying to do channel financing, and we've been trying to discipline our dealer distributors to actually pay on time and then maybe take a higher percentage of margins, right? So this financing is a way, but I think fundamentally at a business level, I just want to understand where are we in terms of our discipline of our dealer distributors to pay up actually. Because can we control, if we can control them, we can control them through whatever we do on our own, or through Project Lakshya, or through bank finance as well. So this is just a way to execute this, the scheme. So just asking this to understand this more. Hello?
Yes, Sonal.
Yeah. So, in our Project Lakshya, the credit period is around 45 days, which unlike our traditional business where we have around 60 days credit period, and currently in Project Lakshya, the average number of days of payment is way lower than what we have in general. So currently, if we are standing at around 109 days, so in Project Lakshya, it's around 55-60 days. And that is only due to the kind of lockdowns that we are seeing during the phase 1, phase 2, which really slows the payment from the retail market to them. So in channel financing, what happened is there's a proper SOP that has been made, and the distributor has to follow that particular SOP. Plus, we have a lot of conditions also, which is different from the traditional business that we do. So in
my question to you is, let's pick your top 5 distributors, which make up a large part of your sales, and where are they in terms of their debtor days right now? And if we were to bring them to 60 days or to 45 days under Lakshya is being more conservative on numbers there, on lower on numbers there, what would it actually mean to your business? This is what I'm trying to understand. So I don't want to look at the tail of your business through Project Lakshya, which is very small in terms of the impact on the top line. Let's look at the head of your business and look at your top 5 dealer distributors, and where are they in terms of their credit? Because you say we typically give 60 days, but we're sitting at 109, 115 days still. So what does it actually entail to bring them under maybe channel financing, maybe Lakshya? Just want to understand that.
Yeah. So what happened is typically the big distributors that we have currently they occupy around 2 to 3 districts among them. Right. Okay. First part is they cover a bigger area than what we actually give it to a Project Lakshya distributor. So currently we are not touching them because they are a good part of our sales. Right. We don't want to take a big hit unless we cover or we generate equal amount of sales from the surrounding areas. This is the first part. The second part is their debtor days would be around 110 and 115 days. I wouldn't deny that, and that's why the whole receivable days is skewed towards that number only. Sure. So the big distributors are also paying late. I won't deny that. But once we plan to bring them on board, so what we did with the old distributors who were onboarded into Lakshya project is that we gave them a time frame of around 1 month, 2 months time. We told them to bring their overall credit to a particular limit, and then only we started those distributors. It's not that if a payment cycle is being disturbed for a particular distributor, we can just start the Lakshya project for them. So we have made a criteria that if you come down, we give them 2 months, we give them the ultimatum. We tell them if you want to take a bank loan or a working capital loan from the bank, you can take that. But within 1.5 months time or 2 months time, you have to come down to 60 days. Then only we can enroll Lakshya to you. Otherwise, it's a no-no for us.
Okay. So tell me, what is the resistance of them actually moving down to 60 days? Forget back financing, forget Lakshya. So today, if you as the promoter of the company goes to them and says, sir, you've been giving me money, you've been paying me back in 110, 120 days roughly, and this is the margin I give you. And this is just for the sake of building an argument, so throwing a number. So let's say I give you 3 more percentage points, 5 more percentage points on margin, and you come down to 60 days. What is the nature of the discussion with them? Just want to understand, would they, and if they won't, why won't they as of now? Because financing and Lakshya are execution pieces, but you can do this even without these right now by putting more margin on the table actually. So just trying to understand that.
So let me give you an analogy. So if there's a thief in Singapore and there's a thief in India, so India would be much more relaxed, and the one who will steal things in Singapore, maybe UAE, Dubai, they would be in much more bad shape due to the only fact that the system, the police department is how strong. That's the only criteria which really, which is a real criteria for the thief also. कि कहाँ पे कितना relaxed है. So the same analogy is over here as well. The distributor, when they come into a regime or a regime with the bank where they have a stricter policy, they would behave in a particular manner. But as soon as the company starts giving extra discount without proper policy in place, or even though we keep a policy, we make a policy for them, they know that in the past it has happened. We have moved from 75 days to 130 days. Because before demonetization, if you see our numbers, it was around 75 days of total receivable days. So which has now increased to 130 days. We were being liberal with them. We didn't take a hit on our sales.
Basically, in your analogy, you are saying you've outsourced the police job, essentially, right? That is exactly what you are trying to say. That
That was true for most of the industries who used to deal with the consumer durables. So there was a point in 2018-19 where there was a huge liquidity crunch in the market, where everyone, all the companies had a bad debtor days. The receivable days rose in that particular period. And the company who could take a hit on their sales was able to control their debtor days. Otherwise, the debtor days increased for everyone at that point of time. So, so when they know that they can get some kind of a liberty from the company doesn't have an option because they have good sales in their particular area. So that's when the bargaining power of the distributor is higher. That's what creates a problem. So in Lakshya project, we are trying to bring that particular bargaining power into check and maintain the company's bargaining power, keeping the company on an upper hand in that particular system.
I appreciate the analogy. I think that explains. So just trying to understand these large top 5 dealer distributors from a disclosure perspective. If we could just talk about in your disclosures not taking leaves for the subsequent calls, that have we moved the needle for the top 10, top 15? Maybe that will help to us to also understand that are we moving the mountain here or are we actually moving the tail? I think that's one. And secondly, just want to understand, do you these large distributors do they deal with your competitors? I'm assuming as well, and they have similar issues with them too. Your competitors have issues with them as well. Just asking out of curiosity, actually, here.
Yeah. So basically, most of our distributors are exclusive to us. They don't deal with the peer group. Mostly the big distributors that we are talking about. So I wouldn't be able to comment upon how they deal with the competitor brand or the peer companies.
Okay.
Apart from that, yes, we'll take your advisement into consideration that now that we'll be onboarding distributor for channel financing, we'll also talk to our big distributors who are willing to come to channel financing or not, and maybe in the next quarter results or like maybe 1.5 months after, if you want to have a follow back upon this, we can surely give you the results or like what happened.
No, fair enough. Fair enough. I think
tell you what happened with that.
Sure. I think we're just looking at 80-20, then the 80% of the puzzle, then actually 20% of the puzzle. That will help us see how you are moving in your working capital cycle. That's my question.
Sure.
So you've been really helpful on this one. Yeah, sure. Thank you. That's it from my side. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Devanshu Bansal from Emkay Global Financial Services. Please go ahead.
Yes, hi. Thanks for the opportunity and congratulations on a great set of numbers. So you sort of indicated that realizations have improved about 30% in this quarter. Can you help us can you break this up into the price hikes that we have taken and what has come through the product mix change?
So out of the 52% growth that we saw in this particular quarter, 21% was the volume growth and 31% was the value growth. The overall ASP of the company was 67 rupees vis-a-vis 56 rupees last year second quarter. And for a half yearly figure, if we see, it's 64 rupees vis-a-vis 54 rupees last year.
So broadly, 20% of this has come from price increase and 10% odd has been due to product mix.
Sorry?
Broadly, 20% has come from price hikes and 10% through product mix. Is this correct?
Yeah, due to product mix, right, correct.
Okay. Secondly, wanted to understand this challenge which you indicated in terms of GST increase in January 22. So, given the condition, do you think that we'll be able to pass on the entire price increase or we have to absorb some of that?
No, we'll be able to pass it down the channel. So, we don't have to absorb it in our books.
And how much of that increase would be, sir?
That's uncertain right now because the government has not made any announcement with respect to the GST slab that our industry would be in.
Sure. So I wanted to understand, since we have already taken over the last 2 years, we have taken quite a bit of price hike. So, and this incremental price hikes, then won't it affect the demand for our products?
So whenever what happened is if there's a price hike in the raw material and which is a very substantial hike, so we have got no other option but to pass on to the consumers. It's just that till now we are able to pass it on very smoothly and there has been no resistance from the market. And in fact, after increasing 20% till April of this particular year, we still did a very good second quarter vis-a-vis last year's second quarter. So we are very hopeful that the overall demand shouldn't change much.
Sure, thanks. That's it from my end.
Thank you. Mr. Dhiral Shah, you can go ahead with your question, please.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Thanks for the opportunity. So my question is, what was the athleisure growth which we have seen on a YY basis?
So athleisure contribution is around 12% this particular half yearly. It was somewhere around 10% contribution last year.
Okay. And sir, on the EBO side, what will be the ROI for our franchisor, and what will be the minimum investment required in this, and who bears the inventory risk?
In the EBO part?
Yes.
So EBO is a completely FOFO model, wherein all the capex investment is being done by the franchisee. The total amount for a store of around 500 square feet would cost around 10 to 11 lakhs, the capex expenditure. So if we are doing, so there are two models. There is one model where the products would be sold on SOR basis, and there is one model which is an outright basis, wherein we'll provide some small amount of stock correction in 6 months' time. So the first store that we have opened is on outright model, and the realization for the company would be much better than what we have in our traditional sales.
Okay. And sir, on the modern trade side, what was the growth we've seen in online channel?
Around 75 to 77% kind of a growth that we have seen over last year.
Okay. And so lastly, on the export side, so what was the contribution from the export, and what was the growth registered?
So overall export was around for a half yearly on a half yearly basis, we saw around 32% growth from last half year. So last year 6 months was around 22 crores, which was around 30 crores this particular half yearly.
Pardon sir, this year it was 22 crores.
Last year it was 22 crores. This year it was 30 crores.
Okay. And so what was the ad spend in H1 and the volume growth for H1?
The volume growth was around 21% for 16% in H1, and advertisement expenditure for 6 months was around 32 crores. 32.74 crores, which was 5.49%.
Okay. And for the full year, sir, we are restricting it to 65 to maybe 60 to 65 crore, right?
Yeah, around 55 to 60 crores.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, sir. That's it from my side.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this was the last question for today. I now hand the conference over to the management for their closing comments. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, I take this opportunity to thank everyone for joining this call. I hope we have been able to address all your queries. For any further information, kindly get in touch with us. And thank you once again, and a very, very happy Diwali to everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, members of the management. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Phillip Capital PCG Desk, that concludes this conference call. Thank you for joining us. You may now disconnect your lines.